had to take a literal pause for just a moment. And all of a sudden my daughter had a fever of 102. I had to keep her home for 3 days because, you know, she had a fever and then she needed to rest. Her poor little body needed to rest. And I went back into this old version of me, of that lack of mentality, and oh my gosh, how am I going to pay for my bills? How am I going to do this? I have to move clients around. I have to do this. I have to do that. How am I going to get all this stuff done? I have to get a video done for my students for the medicine wheel. And this morning, because I did get this video done for my students for the medicine wheel, and I got stuff done, and I was able to still create and, you know, still bring in income. I mean, Spirit will always provide. But this morning, I come out as my usual, you know, self at 5 o'clock in the morning, completely drowsy, ready to work out. And there's one of my guides sitting on my couch, and he's laughing. And I'm going, why are you laughing? I have this particular guide, by the way, you guys. He comes in a couple of different forms. So he either comes as a woman or a man, depending on what I need in that moment. This morning he came in as a man. And he's always my come to Jesus guide. He's no BS. He tells it as it is. Like, you know, it's just, this is it. Like, this is it. And lately he's come as a man because I've needed that masculine balance. I've needed that masculinity in my life. Before, he came as a woman a lot because I needed the femininity. I needed to find that feminine balance. And now I'm working on the masculine. And so he's sitting there and he's laughing, and I'm like, why are you laughing? This isn't funny. Like, you know, like, what's happening, right? And you guys are supposed to take care of me, and the universe is supposed to take care of me, and I'm supposed to be taken care of, and, you know, my daughter's supposed to be taken care of, and all of this stuff. And he goes, why do you think everything was turned upside down this week? Why do you think everything got flipped upside down and you had to question everything? And in that moment I realized it's because I was questioning myself. I've been working a lot on the masculine energy lately, especially as far as my business goes. And I forget sometimes that there's a time and place for masculine. There's a time and place for, you know, feminine. But there's also a time and place for that scarcity mindset. And what was that scarcity mindset teaching me this week? Well, it was teaching me that I still had some things to work on. That I still held some things from 2016 Brie, before I began my full-on spiritual journey, before I really stepped into my gifts, before I even got my very first tarot deck. I had gone back to that Brie, and I was sitting in that moment of that scarcity and that lack, and it all had to do with the eclipse. The eclipse brought all of this chaos because there was a foundation that wasn't working anymore. There was a vision that I needed to let go of. There was, you know, a part of me that I needed to say goodbye to. And so, and this is essentially a small little tidbit of a soul retrieval that you guys can do at home for yourself. But I had to sit there and I had to go back to that past Brie, and I had to ask her what she needed, what she wanted, why she was showing up again, why I kept going through this lesson, why these patterns kept showing up. And she said, it's because you don't believe in me. You don't believe in me. You know, all my work I've done on myself, all the healing that I've done, I didn't believe in me. I believe in the universe. I believe in my spirits. I believe in my guides. I believe in my shamanic teacher. I believe in my friends. But was I truly believing in myself and my ability? And was I allowing my fear of the unknown to keep me from moving forward to my new vision? To where I really and truly want the intention of my business to be. The healing for my clients, for my students, for myself, for my daughter, for my community, for the world. Were my intentions pure? Had I really done that deep healing work? You guys, I know you've probably heard me say this before, and you'll hear me say it again because I learned it the hard way. If you're not doing the deep healing work, you're only doing the surface level stuff. You're only doing the surface level, and you're going to continue to project the surface level. And as a healer, my clients that come to me, while my intentions can be absolutely pure, and I got this today, it was kind of like a double whammy. My guide telling me, and then I watched my video from my class for the advanced shaman course. My teacher said it in there, and I was like, all right, I get this. I get this. While my intentions were pure, in all reality, I was almost like I was just doing sessions on the surface level because I hadn't healed this part. And so a lot of what I was seeing was the same things that were happening in my life, right? Because I was mirroring it out as mirroring back to me, I was projecting it out as projecting back to me, because I needed to work on it. So now when I hold this space for my clients, and I'm continually, you know, evolving that, continually opening up that space and going back into that hole and removing the stuff so that I can hold that space for my clients. So my intentions are completely pure. My intentions are 100% about my clients and 100% about my students and their healing and their work. But up until this week, I kept going around and around and around in a scarcity mindset, a lack mindset of this pattern that kept happening, and these people that kept coming into my lives of, you are not good enough, you do not do enough. And there were always people in like an authority kind of, you know, a boss, you know. So a lot of you guys probably know I do the work camp program here, and the owner, it was like I wasn't doing enough for him. I wasn't getting, you know, this wasn't clean enough, this wasn't done enough, this wasn't, you know, and I felt like I kept, no matter how hard I was working, it wasn't enough. And my team was feeling that also. My team was feeling that they weren't doing enough. And I realized it's because I was projecting it out. And me projecting it out, my team was getting it also. And so they were feeling that. So today when I walk in with a different mindset of, we are doing everything that we can to the fullest of our ability, to the best of our ability, and it's beautiful. And everyone here works, and they're wonderful, and they do their parts, and they're amazing. And whatever this other person thinks of me, whatever's going on with this other person, that's not for me. That is that. And they can think that and they can feel that, but I know this. And I am okay with this. And I am working on this. And it might take me a little while, and I might still have a moment where I'm like, well, but I did that. You know, as long as I did do that, then that's fine. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. So this eclipse that we had brought all of this stuff up to the surface level for us to work on. And we can either bring it out and work on it, or we could push it right back down for it to come right back up later on. And another lesson, another pattern, another circle. You know, I think this is why my guides were like, you cannot talk about the directions anymore, because I kept holding on to a story that needed to be let go. It needed to be done, because that vision, the people that were in my life at that moment were not supposed to go into the next part of my vision, and that's okay. And I learn from that, and I heal from that, and I grow from that, and I send love and beauty and grace and hope for everyone's dreams to come true. And I hold love in my heart, and I send love out, but I have to close that door. And that is why those clips that I recorded kept getting destroyed, because I was holding on to that story and I kept repeating it, and so I was making it that crystallized energy, and it wasn't helping me or anyone else. It was just becoming a story on top of a story on top of a story on top of a story, you know. And when my guide met with me this morning, and he was sitting there, and he's like, you know this. You know what you're supposed to do. Because I honestly was sitting there. A lot of things happened at the beginning of this week. And I was like, why is this happening? Do I have to make a decision? And they're like, you can. You can make a decision. But where are you making that decision from? Are you making it from fear? and lack? Or are you making it from love and beauty? And if you're making it from love and beauty, then you're good. You're golden. Keep doing it. You're on the right path kind of stuff. But if you're making it from that lack mindset, then take a step back and look at it again. Because maybe, just maybe, the problem is you. We don't ever want to hear that, right? Like, we don't want to hear, I am the problem. I am the problem. We never want to hear that. But I was the problem, because I was also trying to do more than I possibly can, and I was trying to be the hero for every single person, and I was back in that victim mentality mindset, and I was possibly even stepping into the perpetrator a little bit, you know, as in, this person is doing this to me and they're just bad, you know, or this person didn't do this. So I now get to look in my life, where do I do that to other people? Where have I done that in the past? You're not doing enough. You're not holding up your ends. You're not, you know, this isn't how I want it, so it's not enough. Where have I projected that onto somebody else? And I get to work on that, and I get to look at that. And that's the beauty in healing, is when we get to that space and we see that, we work on it, we grow with it, we transform it, we mutate it. Mutate it, is that the word? Let it go into something even more beautiful. The other thing that came up a lot this week was that dark magic sorcery thing again. And somebody said this to me one time, and they said, you know, it was after everything that happened last year, and I sat with dark magic a lot, and I sat with sorcery, and I'm gonna make a video on this, you guys, about my take on dark magic and sorcery. And they said, but do you believe in it? And I said, yeah, I do believe in it. And they said, okay, why do you believe in it? Why have you made it this thing? And you know, I went back to my shamanic teacher, and she said, that's not real. That's not real. But I had made it real in my own reality, so it became real. But it's because the intentions that even I was putting out were negative. And so sorcery was created, black magic, dark magic, whatever was created, because even my intentions weren't true. They weren't positive. So that's what was created in that. And a lot of people, I'm noticing this, are going back to that mentality. There was something else so said. It was, black magic, dark magic, sorcery equals fear. It is simply our fear being projected back at us. That's it. I feared something. And so dark magic, black magic, sorcery, whatever you want to call it, was quote unquote created. This person was doing dark magic because I feared this. So then I had to work on that, and it came back through this Mercury retrograde, and we have this full moon and the eclipse season. All of that came back because I was going back to that fear mentality. And here's the funny thing, my evil eye turned around again, and I asked the evil eye, I was like, why do you keep turning around? And it was when, you know, my guide laughed again. He goes, it's because of you. You're turning it around. You're turning it around. I was like, I'm not physically turning this evil eye to face the other direction. They're like, no, because you're going back into that fear. You're pushing it back out. And every time that thing turns around, you're looking for the outside source of why it's happening. And you're not looking within. I feel like we need to end it right there. I feel like I honestly, that is where it's at, guys. It's sometimes we look too much on the outside and not on the inside, because we don't want to face that sometimes. We don't want to face, because the one person we can't lie to is ourselves. And our guides are an extension of us. Our guides are us. That person that is doing that dark magic, that black magic, I'm using quotations for those on the podcast, sorcery, it's because we projected that fear out there. That's a mirror back at us. So where in our lives do we maybe source from something that we shouldn't be sourcing from? We're all learning, we're all growing, we're all creating, but we can also destroy. So we also have to be careful. We're realizing that we are these strong, abundant creatures who can create, but we can also destroy. So we have to be careful in what we are creating and what we are destroying, and our intentions. There's a huge, 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 huge symbol on intentions right now. Intentions. And this Mercury retrograde, I just have to say, you guys, communication, it's gonna get out there. But before you jump to conclusions, take a step back and look within yourself and ask yourself, should I be jumping to these conclusions? Is this reality? Is it actually happening? Or do I need to work on this? And maybe it's that you need to work on something, and that's it. So I hope you guys have a wonderful day. I know that because the video kind of died, I kind of went on to another rant also, but that's okay. That's the beauty of it. I love it. I hope you guys are still here listening or watching. I appreciate you guys. Words. I appreciate you guys oh so very, very much, and I will see you guys in my next episode. Bye, guys.